Greetings to the Lunar Matrix. This is Elizabeth Shermer with an intuitive reading for the Lunar Matrix on Tuesday, November 27th. Today's reading is in anticipation of tomorrow's full moon, which occurs at 6:26 a.m. Wednesday, November 28th. It's a full moon and a lunar eclipse, and the reading is in effect, covers the next 4 weeks all the way up until next month's full moon on December 28th. Lunar eclipse always opens a special cosmic portal or doorway, and the portal is caused by the absence of light during the time when the Earth's shadow is covering the moon. And during that time when the moon is normally fully lit and it's covered, a special galactic doorway opens, and galactic and cosmic support uses this unusual opening or portal to deliver gifts to the Earth from beyond our solar system. So whenever there's an eclipse, we can anticipate a special period of unusual opportunities, and in a sense that we have the opportunity after eclipses to make cosmic leaps or quantum leaps forward because of the special gifts that are delivered. There's the gifts coming this month, this week, tomorrow, with the eclipse have to do with emotional expansion and the opportunity to release old karma, old limitations, old thought forms associated with past experiences or lineage or lifetimes of baggage, and also to activate new levels of emotional security and confidence and depth, which will enable new forms of our own emotional center, our connection to source, our connection to earth, and our connection to others. And this is not only personal, but also planetary. There are opportunities for new levels of planetary unity and expansion coming in the next weeks. And those of you who are eagerly awaiting December 21st and the Winter Solstice of 2012 will recognize that this is a theme that we have been anticipating in eagerness with the arrival of the solstice, the theme of new planetary unity and a new sense of connection to the rest of the cosmos. This full moon is supporting our preparation for that event and our ability to participate fully and receive all the gifts that are available to us in this time. So understanding this potential and working with the information from the astrology chart, I asked for a tarot reading this week that would support our ability to once again fully participate in all the potentials that are available at this time. And so the first card I want to talk about today in the middle is the Ten of Swords, and this card is the prominent message for the first message for today. To hold in our awareness, the central position is awareness or mind. The Ten of Swords is called sorrow, and the Ten of Swords refers to I'm sorry, it's not sorrow, it's ruin. The Ten of Swords is called ruin, and it refers to culminating fear of ruin of all, of everything. Tens represent full expansion, full capacity, full to overflowing. And so the Ten of Swords ruin in its upright position represents the ruin of all that is. And in this case, it's representing even the most extreme sense of ruin, which is the end of the world, which some fear is coming with the Winter Solstice of 2012. This card is calling our awareness to the very reality of that fear that's held in the mind, in the culture, in certain aspects of the culture, and to be aware that that fear is present. However, the card today emerged reversed. And so what I want to say about that is that there's a very special message with this card. It's acknowledging the presence of the fear, that the activations of the eclipse will be releasing. There will be a huge emotional expansion. And Jupiter in conjunction with the moon is allowing for a huge release of emotional energy. And some of that will be a release of the past. And a huge expansion, the other side of huge expansion can be the experience of fear or chaos or anxiety. And so some may have that experience in the days ahead. And there also will be people who will take advantage of that experience to even generate more fear. And so just be aware that there's a tendency among some to experience events in this way, but there's an alternative reality that is much higher and bigger and fuller. And that alternative reality is represented by the Ten of Swords reversed, which is the release of the fear of ruin. It's representing an expansion and a dropping away of those old fears that we may have carried for lifetimes. And there will be a sense of exhilaration and freedom that's possible. And then the astrology chart also shows an unusual alignment, a conjunction between Venus and Saturn, which has to do with the opportunity at the same time of this release. It represents the opportunity for new foundations and new anchoring, new emotional stability, and new foundations and values for us to ground in, both internally in ourselves, but also in the culture and in the planet and in our relationships with others around us. So there's the opportunity for new worlds to be built, and that's the dream of the solstice and what we have been anticipating for a very long time. It's coming into form now. So what is unusual about the rest of the reading for today is that I was guided actually to return or to continue with the teachings and the energy and the message of last week's reading. So I did pull this card as the doorway in. The Ten of Swords is the doorway in. However, the rest of the reading is a revisiting of the reading from last week, which was offered to us or given to us in anticipation of this very special event, this portal associated with the lunar eclipse. So the central card in awareness that is in relationship to the release of fear of the Ten of Swords, I'll put this as a crossing card in the back, is the Eon or judgment. And this card represents clear judgment, clear sight, clear vision, and the ability to see past, present, and future and hold them all from a place of wisdom and safety and security and trust. And so this card represents both the seer and the sage, the visionary and the wise one. And it represents our ability to come into awareness of ourselves as true co-creators with Source and our own connection to our divinity and the divinity of all. So this indeed is the highest expression of what is possible at this time of our evolutionary expansion into a new relationship with ourselves and with the rest of the cosmos. The cards to either side represent the tools we can use to hold this awareness and this sense of self and center. To the left, the Princess of Swords represents our will and our determination to cut through limiting thought forms and to use our intellect and to use our mind as a tool for releasing what no longer serves us and holding fast to our determination to move forward. We choose where we place our attention. That's the Princess of Swords. And then to the right, the Three of Swords, sorrow, is the expression of Source. This position is for Spirit. It's the expression of Source supporting us in the release of the past. This sorrow refers to past experiences, past events, stories, and realities we hold in our mind of ways in which we did not receive our heart's desire in the past. And we can have a tendency to project those experiences onto current events. So this is reminding us that, again, we have a choice, The Three of Swords represents the choice of putting our attention on past sorrow or moving our attention into our heart. It's one of the powerful teachings of this card. And when we move our attention into our heart, into our emotional strength and our center, we move back into our own awareness of big picture and our ability to understand and see the perfection of even those circumstances which brought us sorrow, that all has led to this perfect time and place. So this was again the basic reading. It's a summary of last week's reading, and again is holding true for this week at this important time that we are entering, that we are immersed in. The final card, you may remember, is the card called Art or Temperance, and it's a reminder for us to come back into center. Temperance is the card of our ability to channel pure energy. I call it the alchemy card because it's about us being a clear vehicle for the highest and purest potential, and we're able to flow those potentials through us when we come into alignment with ourselves. So this card teaches us about the power that comes from our own connection to our inner being, and that we can trust our guidance when it comes from within. And this is where we again are able to remember the truth of who we are and the trust in the big picture that's holding us and sustaining us. So remember this week that there is a potential, and not just this week but in the coming weeks, there's the potential for fear. And there's the potential for the activation of the fear of ruin. And to realize that that is only real when we hold it in our minds. And so use your determination and your will to turn away from that perspective and return to center, where you'll feel your connection to source and the truth of all that is. And share this truth with others. Turn your attention away from media and other sources of information that would distract you. And turn your attention to those who share your vision and with whom you can share your dreams and your truth and your sense of connection and the eagerness and anticipation of what is coming, and a new reality, a new experience of unity and the birth of new potentials. This is what we live in the moment, and this is what we can feel is coming, and the reality we are expanding into. So I thank you for sharing this time with me today, and I am honored to share this time on the planet with you, and eager to connect with you again next week as we are moving forward and deeper into the adventure of the transformation of 2012. This is Elizabeth Shermer with the Lunar Matrix.